So here we go. Like I said, welcome everybody to Marketing 101 in our early education programs. My name is Tim Smith. I know pretty much all of y'all on the webinar today. There were only a couple of names that I didn't recognize, but I appreciate you joining me on this busy week to see what we can do about building your enrollment within your program. Uh, Now, a lot of times when I do marketing trainings, marketing is a lot like discipline and guidance. When you go to a training, you're looking for those magic answers. You're looking for someone to wave the magic wand, and boom, instantly you're going to have a building full of kids. Or in a discipline and guidance, you wave the magic wand, and instantly all your children are behaving. We know it doesn't work that way, right? There's a lot more to it than just waving the magic wand. Marketing and building enrollment is a process. And, that's the first thing that we want to understand, that this is a process. It does not happen overnight. It takes a period of time. And there's a lot of elements that have to come together before you can be successful at marketing and building enrollment. All right, we're going to talk about several of these things today as we get moving. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, now a couple of things I like to do whenever I work with programs that are trying to build their enrollment is the first thing that you and your leadership team, and that could be director, assistant director, teachers, whatever you want it to be. The first thing you've got to do is you've got to create what I call your USPs, which are your unique selling points. All right. These are things that make you different than everybody else out there. Things that you are proud of, things that people will remember you by. This is your legacy right here. All right. Let me back up just a second and give a little disclaimer. Normally when I teach this class, this is a 6-hour class that I am condensing down to a 1-hour webinar. So if I start going too fast, please say, hey, Tim, back up, or I've got a question, or type in your question. I want to try to get through as much of the material as I can, but we normally spend a lot of time on some of these items. Unique selling points, though, I start off with this for a reason, because before you can be successful at marketing, you've got to define your unique selling points. And I like to divide unique selling points up into two different categories: education and customer service. All right, these are two things that parents are looking for. Now, when I get a parent on the phone, a prospective parent on the phone, or a tour that comes into my program, I'll always start off by trying to get to know the family. Tell me a little bit about the family. Tell me a little bit about what you're looking for in an early education program. That is key right there. What are you looking for in an early education program? Now, some parents may come back and say, well, I'm looking for my child to be ready for kindergarten. I'm looking for my child to read, to write. They're looking for all of these cognitive skills, all right? The parent may also come back and say, well, I'm looking for a home-like environment. I'm looking for my child to be nurtured and loved. I'm looking, to feel comfortable when I drop my child off in the morning and when I pick them up in the afternoon. So that's kind of the customer service side of it right there. You're going to create, I always encourage at least 3 unique selling points for each of these two categories: education and customer service. When you get that parent in your door, whether it's on the phone or you get them in the front door, tell me about what you're looking for. All right? How they answer that question is what's going to drive the conversation. If they're looking for that academic stuff, you're going to really push your unique selling points on education. If they're looking for the nurturing, the love, the customer service, then you're going to go to that side. All right? Now, throughout the conversation and throughout the sale, you want to touch on both education and customer service and your unique selling points. But you're going to start off with whatever's going to gain their attention. All right? So that's important for you to realize right there. Okay? Now, one of my favorite books, and if you want to, I'm going to type this over here in the chat section. I want y'all to go check out a book called The Carpenter, and it's written by John Gordon. All right. This is a fantastic book that every early educator that is responsible for building enrollment, you need to read this. But the book The Carpenter is all about building your business based on relationships. And it's fantastic, and I promise you that you'll love it. But a big, goal right here, or a big thing that you need to realize is you don't chase dollars, you chase relationships. Okay, and I think that quote is so applicable to our industry and what we're trying to accomplish. Is yes, we are running a business. Yes, we need to have a bottom line. We must be profitable to stay open. But it really is. It's all about the relationships you build with your families, you build with your children. And I think that after you read the book, The Carpenter, it will change your unique selling points. Okay? Um, I'm going to come back to unique selling points here in just a little bit because we're going to use these for a couple of different things. Okay, but first off, let's kind of go down and talk about a couple of other things. Next, we need to determine your goals. All right, where do you want to be and how long before this happens? Now, of course, y'all are all sitting here on the webinar today going, Tim, I want to be full. I want to be full. I want to be profitable. I don't want to have to worry about money. Well, that's beautiful right there. That's all of our goal. Your goals must be realistic. Okay? One of the biggest reasons why people fail in this industry is that they expect too much too fast. All right? Remember, it's a process. Now, when determining your goals, you need to do some research. All right? I strongly encourage you to reach out to other early education programs in your area. What does their enrollment look like? What are their needs? How many other early education programs are there within your community? All right, after you gather some of that information, you need to go to your city or county website and look at some of your census data and your statistics in your area. What is the average income of the families in your area? What is the average age of the adults within your area? How many children per household? All right. You want to make sure that your school is in a growing area. Okay. Are there new families moving into your area? These type of things. Now, two pitfalls that people commonly make in this industry when determining your goals and deciding where to open and where to build an early education program, there's two pitfalls. One of them is that you may see from your census data is that you are in a heavily populated area, but it may be a heavily populated area of individuals that don't have children. Okay, you could be in a young, preppy part of town that you've got a lot of youngsters and young professionals that are starting their career. You may have a high population of those, but they don't have kids. All right. You could also be in an older area of town where the income may be high and it may be a nice area of town, but you've got a lot of older individuals that children have graduated out of the household. Okay, obviously they're not going to need your services either. All right, so that's why, again, you want to look at that census data and really get a pinpoint of the families that are in your area and how many and what percentage of these individuals are going to need your services. Another big pitfall that people make is that they will look at the statistics, see that there's a high population of families that are 25 to 40 years of age that are having children, but they have high income. Okay, if you start seeing that the income levels are too high, obviously these people are not going to need your services either. Why? Because they're probably out there hiring nannies or the spouse, one of the parents doesn't work. So you've got to find those middle class families that need your services. Now, some of you may be offering academic days, Mother's Day out, pre-K programs that you will service some of these families that only one member works and the other one stays at home. That's going to be one of your unique selling points, that you cater to the academic day. All right, so you want to do that. When you determine your goals, be realistic, okay? Space it out. Remember that it takes the average early education program 3 to 5 years from the time they open. It takes 3 to 5 years for them to start showing a profit. All right. So those of you that are new into this and you go a year, you go 2 years, and you're still in the red and you're still having to pump money into your program, don't get frustrated. That is totally normal. All right. 3 to 5 years is what it takes. If you are able to make a profit sooner than 3 to 5 years, then high five, you're doing a great job. The other thing is, especially those of you that are in a program that's been around for a while, and maybe you're needing to add some life to your program, pick up the enrollment, really take a look and measure your potential, okay? Look at the variance between your full-time enrollment and your part-time enrollment. Of course, more full-time enrollment that you can get into the program, the more stable it's going to be. It's a little bit easier to manage. But there's also a benefit to having part-time enrollment, and this is kind of, again, go back to those of you that are servicing the what I call Pilates moms, the moms that don't work but they want an early education program for their child. You actually make more money on part-time children than you do full-time children if you're using the right formula to calculate your tuition cost. That's a whole nother webinar that we will do on estimating cost of care, because that again takes time. But you got to do it strategically. Let me just go ahead and touch on this. This is a preview for the webinar on cost of care that we'll have later on. One of the biggest mistakes that people make when determining cost of care is charging what the competitors are charging. All right, you don't want to do that. You need to figure out what is your center's cost of care based on the expenses that you have, based on what it's costing you to have each child in your program, and you're going to determine your cost of care solely on your establishment. Using competitive shops, I mean, still do them because you want to compare yourself to everyone out there, but do not solely make your tuition decisions on what other people are charging. That might be one of the reasons why they're not successful, okay? But it can also go the other direction there too. I've ran programs in the past where I had a lot of part-time enrollment, and I was able to stack my enrollment. I would do a morning program and an afternoon program, double sell a space. You know, you can do a academic day of 8 to 1 and an academic day of 2 to 6. So you got to really look at that potential. Those of you that have school-age programs, if you've got a large school-age program that sits empty until 3:30, you could easily put pre-K classrooms in that program in the morning time for your academic day, and again, double sell that spot. So you've got to measure your potential. When I work with schools and we talk about capacity and people want to start saying they're full, quote unquote, are you really full? You all got to look at every square foot of your building and how can I cover every square foot, and sometimes even double dip into that. That's when you start making your big profits right there. All right. Now, when I go into an underperforming school and we start to build enrollment, before I start the marketing process, before I start sinking money into marketing, because marketing is expensive, we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. Before I will spend any money on marketing, before I will start inviting families into the building, you got to close the back door first. All right, what I call close the back door. It does not do you any good to market your program if people are leaving you as fast as you bring people in. Okay. The goal is to build enrollment, not to maintain it by bringing new people in as people are leaving you. Plus, you got to remember every single person that leaves you is going to tell at least 10 people in the community why they left you. All right. Well, when you got a new person coming in, the numbers are a lot lower on how they share their information. So close the back door. You look at your quality of your program. You look at the curriculum. Is curriculum being delivered? Are we communicating curriculum? Are you following up on curriculum? I just did a webinar a couple of weeks ago on following up on curriculum, the director's role in making sure that's being done. That's important right here. You've got to look at your staff, and do your employees share the same goal that you share? All right. What is their morale? If I was a prospective parent and I walk into a program and it's very obvious the staff don't want to be here and they're really unhappy, I'm not going to enroll my child there. So your staff has to be upbeat. They've got to be in it to win it. They've got to be determined. Okay. We'll talk about that in just a little bit too. Look at your customer satisfaction. Twice a year, I do a parent survey, and we do it on the internet, so it's very discreet. You know, I can't tell who wrote what, but ask your parents, how are we doing? What can we do better? What are some of the great things about our program? What are some of the not so great things about our program? But really take a look at that customer satisfaction. All right. The next one, and this is huge. I know it sounds petty, but it's so big. Look at your curb appeal. Look at the physical appearance of your building. Now, this is where I challenge all of you. You've got to take a very deep look at the attention to detail, the tiny, tiny little stuff. Bulletin boards that are half ripped down, lesson plans that are 3 weeks old, paint that is chipped on the wall, chunks that are taken out of the wall, playground equipment that is not in good repair. Because we spend so much time in our centers, we get the blind eye and we stop looking at these things. A new person coming into your building, a prospective parent coming in, are going to notice these things immediately, and they're going to form their opinion based on that attention to detail. So things like the smell of your building, huge right there. I know this sounds crazy, but light bulbs being out, all right? Those things right there make a lasting impression. And then look at attitudes. Not only your employees' attitudes, but your attitude, all right? When that parent walks in the door, okay, what is your first impression? Are you excited to see them? Do you treat them as if you've been waiting on them all day long? When a parent walks into your center for a tour, do you treat them like a long-lost family member that you haven't seen in 20 years? Or do you smack your pen on the ground and go, oh, it's the last thing I need right now is a tour. Hi, come on in. You know, these things make a big difference. Yes. Now, let's talk about our employees for just a little bit. Make your staff your marketing partners. There's no reason why you have to do this all by yourself. All right? This is the famous radio station that's out there, WIIFM. What's in it for me? Okay? Because, think about it. An employee who is working at an underperforming school and they only have a handful of children in their classroom, but they're still getting paid. They still have a job. They still have their benefits. Why would they want you to be successful? Why would they want you to have more kids? Okay? More kids just means more work for them, more aggravation. I like things just the way they are, all right? So you got to get them into it, okay? You got to make them part of the process. What's in it for me, all right? When we have a full program, we have a lot more opportunities available to us, whether it be supplies, equipment, salary increases, bonuses, additional staff members to support you. You've got to really lay that out there on how building the enrollment will benefit each individual employee. And obviously, it will help them keep their job. Okay. But there's a couple of things that I encourage y'all to take a look at when we talk about making your staff your marketing partners. Um, do you hold your employees accountable for child turnover? All right, when you lose a child and a family de-enrolls a child, do you look at the reason why the child de-enrolled, and do you hold the staff member accountable for that? All right. So you've got to take a look at that. I always encourage you to keep record of children that leave, what classroom did they come out of, and why did they leave. And you need to put this on your employees' annual performance review. Over the last 12 months, you've lost this many kids out of your classroom due to quality issues. All right. Hold them accountable for that. All right. But then also give them part of the marketing process too. Now, I've done this with several schools that I have worked with, that we really focused on enrollment building and quality control. Is that, a lot of times when you walk into a program, the staff is not making the amount of money that they should be making. Now, sometimes they make too much money. I ran into that situation too. Well, there's no such thing as too much money for the job we do. I wish we could all make a lot more, but y'all know what I'm saying. Too much money for this industry. Um, but a lot of times they're underpaid is the point. Now, coming into a program with low enrollment, you cannot afford to instantly raise their salary to where they need to be or where they should be. So I've done a lot of incentives where I will tell the employees once we gain a net 25 children, so once we increase our enrollment from where it is now plus 25 net, all right, so that means every time you lose a kid, you got to add a kid, so it's got to be a growth of 25, then all the employees get a 5% pay increase. And once we gain another 25, that's another 5% pay increase. I've done that, and it's been very, very successful in getting your staff involved in the marketing process. So that means they're maintaining the quality of the classroom, they're maintaining the positive attitude. When you walk that prospective parent in, they sell their classroom, they make it inviting for the new child. Um, I've done it where I've laid out marketing material, flyers, brochures, trifolds, by the time clock. And when employees are leaving to go on their lunch break or when they're leaving for the day, and they know they're going to go through Chick-fil-A, they know they're going to go to the nail salon, whatever, they grab a handful of marketing material and they leave it wherever they're going after work. That's making them part of the marketing process. And it works really, really well. Okay, um, those type of things. Now, if you decide to do an incentive where you increase employee salary as you increase in enrollment, I think it's a very good idea. It's very effective. It works. You want to make sure that you put it in writing. You want to make sure that everyone signs off on it. You need to make sure that they understand that it also goes the opposite direction. If you start losing enrollment, you can take away that 5% increase. All right. And remember, you can always change an employee's salary as long as they're aware of it in advance and they sign off on it. You can do that. All right. So if I increase them when enrollment goes up, I do the same thing when it goes down. They lose that money. Okay. But I've had great success with making staff your marketing partner. Always make sure that your marketing material is ready. Okay, I kind of made the comment earlier that when a prospective parent comes into your building, even when you are not expecting them, you treat them as if you've been waiting for them all day. All right, you treat that family as if they're a long lost family member you haven't seen in 20 years, your best friend from high school that you haven't seen in 20 years. That's how you treat new people coming into your program. Now, a lot of times I will go out into the community and I will do secret shops at other early education programs just so I can get a feel for the other programs that are out there. Okay. And this is one of my biggest pet peeves. And it's so funny because I recently had to find a retirement home for a family member, and I've never been involved in the retirement home, environment before. But I found out really quickly that it's very similar to our world in early education, and especially when you're visiting these places and trying to make a selection for your family member. It was an interesting experience for me because I was able to see the tour and the selling process from the other side. It was really interesting. But one of my big pet peeves with both of those experiences is going into a program to take a look and them not having their materials ready, and you having to sit down in a lobby and wait 10 or 15 minutes while they put the enrollment packet, put all the paperwork together. This stuff needs to be ready to go, to where all you do is reach in a drawer, reach in a cabinet, grab it, you've got it, let's go. All right? Enrollment packets with all your materials, your enrollment paperwork, calendars of events, past newsletters that you've sent out to your families. I love to include parent articles in all of my enrollment material. That's going to show the parent that you are a professional. That's going to show the parent that you're an advocate, not only for their child, but all children. And you've got documented material to back up your knowledge. So I love parent articles. Sign them up for email blast, invite them to parent events. This is the wonderful time of the year right now where we've got the holidays. We have so many parent events going on. Put some invitations in there, those type of things. All right. And of course, your social media, your websites, making sure that they're up to date. From time to time, I will go online and look at other centers in my area, the schools that I work with, and I'll look at some of the competitors. I don't like to use the word competitors, but competitors that are out there. And y'all would be surprised the number of websites that I go to that are outdated, that they have marketing material from like 2014 or a lesson plan from 2015, or they're advertising a parent event from 3 years ago, and the website is not updated. That makes a lasting impression, all right? And of course, check out the social media site. Now, I like to throw this next thing out there because, again, it's probably one of the most important marketing materials, and of course, now my computer wants to play tricks on me. But the best marketing material the best marketing strategy that you can use is your current families. All right, y'all know the old phrase, keep it, give it a kiss. Keep it simple, silly. Use your current families in your marketing efforts. All right. We've been saying this for years, 10, 15 years when we've done training on marketing. We've always talked about using your current families as your marketing tools. But I think nowadays, 2016 going into 2017, this is even more important than ever. And the reason why I say that, because we are in the age of social media, okay? And everybody has not one, but multiple outlets to voice their opinion about not only you, but every other business that's out there, whether it's Yelp or Google or Angie's List or, gosh, there's so many of them. I think every day I find a new website that critiques early education programs, and people can put their opinions out there. We almost need a full-time employee on board to do nothing but manage social media. It's almost got to that point because you need to know what people are saying about you. But your current families can be your best advocates, especially when you do run into a social media nightmare where someone says something bad about you. Your current families can squash that quicker than anything. All right. Now, how do we like to use our current families? The best marketing dollars that you can spend is on parent referrals. Okay. Put a parent referral program in place that works best for your program. I've seen many different parent referral programs out there, whether it's, excuse me, for every child that the parent refers that enrolls with us, they get 1 week of free tuition. It could be $100 for every child that enrolls. It could be whatever, a gift certificate, whatever you can afford. Now, a lot of times people will say, but Tim, let's say my tuition is $175 a week. You want me to give this parent $175 every time they refer a child to us? Yeah, I know it's $175, but take $175 and multiply it by 52 weeks. All right? You're getting $9,100 in revenue off of that referral. Okay? $175 is pennies compared to the end result. $9,100 per year that you're getting off of that child. So make your referral, worth their while. Now, the way I've done it in the past is that, when a parent refers another parent or refers another child, the child does need to be with you for a certain amount of time. I usually say 90 days. The child needs to be with us for at least 90 days. After 90 days, both families must still be enrolled. In both families, their accounts must be in good standing, is how I normally, use the conditions or put conditions on that, before we give that out. But they work really well. Now, as far as other effective marketing methods, there's so much out there. Now, these things cost money. Marketing is not cheap. It's not something you can do for free. But again, a lot of times you have to spend money to make money. Now, of course, the big thing that you see out there is electronic marketing, whether it be on social media, whether it be on websites, making sure that your name shows up at the top of Google searches or Yelp searches, whatever. There's a lot of focus on all of that. And while I do think that that is important, it should not be the only thing you do. All right. Especially when you start talking about Facebook and using Facebook for marketing. When I have a school-owned Facebook page, I kind of only want my current families on that Facebook page, not strange people that I've never met. But that's just my opinion. But, getting your name to the top of Google, getting your name on Yelp, those type of things, they're pretty important. All right. But I also am a big believer in good old-fashioned grassroots marketing. All right. It's kind of like the politicians, going out there, shaking hands, kissing babies, making those personal contacts and building those relationships. You cannot build a relationship with someone through the computer. All right. You've got to be face to face with physical contact to understand and feel emotions. That's how you build those connections and those relationships. So what can we do to get them in the door? All right. Direct mail pieces. You can either hire companies to do this, like ad pages, or the blue envelope. Those people that are out there, there's so many of them out there. You can also go to the United States Postal Service. They have a direct door-to-door program that's pretty affordable. You do have to do a lot of work on that because you have to bundle everything yourself and take it to the post office. But when we talk about cost, it's the most cost-effective thing to do, that you can do those direct mail pieces. And the post office, you select a mail route and you can have everything delivered on that route. It's pretty cool, actually. Door hangers, just on all of these items like door hangers and flyers, check your city ordinance. Make sure that you're not breaking a law. There are some towns out there that prohibit these type of things. But if there's not any ordinance, they could be effective. I've had good success with door hangers in some situations, not so much in others. Flyers, the very first school that I opened, I probably for the first 2 years that we were open, I kept a big old stack of flyers in my car, and every single place we went, I would park at the back of the parking lot at Walmart, and when I would go in to do my grocery shopping, I would sit there and stick flyers on every single car window that I walked past, just one row, unless I needed to get some energy out. And then when I came out of Walmart, I had a whole nother row of cars that I would put those flyers on, those type of things. Now remember, when you're doing something like this, if you're allowed to do this in your area, you want to do it when the people that need your services are out shopping, okay? So going and putting flyers and handing out flyers at retail establishments, if you're doing this at 10 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday, this is not going to do you any good. You've got to do it at night, and you've got to do it on the weekends. That's when the people that need your services are out shopping, all right? So work smart, okay, not harder. Work smarter, not harder, all right? And then, I love cross-marketing with other businesses in the area for multiple reasons. We're all in this together. We're all trying to be successful. But, being able to do some referring to other businesses, it just makes you a better member of the community. But other businesses can become your advocates too. All right. If you do have someone that starts talking bad about you at the nail salon, and you're doing cross marketing with that nail salon, that nail tech might say, well, hang on just a second. I bet there's another side to this story because they're a great place. But cross marketing is good. Becoming a member of your Chamber of Commerce is something that I always recommend. Just stay focused on the mission and the goal, because sometimes those can get political, and we don't want to get involved in those type of things. Again, very similar list right here. Parent referrals, direct mail pieces. You got to try something different, and I put this little quote down there. If you don't change, you're always going to get the same result. Now, one of the reasons why I listed all these things out again is that I wanted to make the point, when marketing your program, you cannot market your program one time and expect results, okay? Your potential customers have to see what you're selling at least 7 times before they will pay attention to it, all right? 7 times, and usually 7 different ways, all right? It's just like me, Tim the trainer, and I know all of y'all out there have received my postcards, my trifolds, my emails. It's like every time you turn around, you're getting something in the mail, either the real mail or email from me on an upcoming training. I really don't like doing all that stuff, folks. I really don't, and it costs a ton of money. But you've got to do it 7 times, 7 different ways before people pay attention. Okay? Same thing applies to your school. Also, on all of your marketing material, your mail pieces, your door hangers, your flyers, your postcards, your ads, all of these type of things, real life pictures of what you're trying to sell. Okay? So rule number 1 is you need to have a picture of your building, a picture of your school on that marketing piece. The parents have got to make the visual connection. Oh, I've seen that place before. That's over at the corner of, this street and that street. They've got to make the visual connection. You're going to have a picture of your building, and then a picture of the classroom, a picture of a child doing a project, a picture of a child reading a book, something like that. Real life pictures too, all right? Because again, these days, we're all ADD. We don't have time to read stuff. We want to look at a picture, get the information we need, and move on. Okay, so remember that when you're creating your marketing pieces. All right, now set goals for your conversions. All right. Now, I always like to set the goal that on any marketing effort that I make, any marketing campaign that I make, that we want a 5% return. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, all right, but let's say that I send out 70,000 direct mail pieces, and you do 5% of 70,000, that's 3,500. Okay, 3,500 phone calls, 3,500 inquiries. That's a lot. All right. So 5% is pretty it's very generous, all right? But you want to set some type of goal on what type of return. And you want to make sure that you're logging this. As people are calling you, as people are coming into the door, how did you hear about us? And keep little tick marks. If I'm spending $10,000 on direct mail pieces and I don't get one single phone call, I don't get one single tour, obviously I'm not going to do that again. Okay, or I need to do it in a different way. Why is it not getting the result? Okay, now when someone calls, when they pick up the phone and they call you, the goal that I have for my managers is they must convert at least 50% of those phone calls into a visit. All right, so anytime that phone rings, I expect half of those people that call to make it in the door. All right. And again, I think that's a very generous goal right there, but we also want to be realistic. A lot of people that call us really don't know how expensive our services are, and they immediately get turned off by it, or some people don't even know why they're calling. But you want to sell them on the phone, and we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. Now, to me, converting that phone call into a visit is the hardest part. Okay, getting them to hang up that phone and drive to your facility and walk in the door, that's the hardest part. So your phone skills have got to be immaculate. All right. Now, once you get them in the front door, my goal is for 75% of those people to enroll. Now, this is where you've got to believe in your program. You've got to believe in your school. The secret to success in this industry is confidence. All right. And when you're confident about your school, you're confident in your staff, you're confident in your curriculum, you will be successful. All right. When parents visit your school and you are confident, you will seal the deal. All right. To me, this is the easy part. Okay, anyone that walks through this door, I can sell them. Okay, because you got to have that belief, that confidence, that compassion, and you can get it done. All right, so again, we go to 75%. Let's kind of go back to those phone inquiries right there. All right, I always challenge my managers and let them know that whoever is answering the phone, before you answer that phone, you take a deep breath and you smile. You can hear a smile on the phone. Okay, to me, one of the biggest turnoffs is for someone to answer the phone and they talk so fast and so rushed that I cannot understand one word they're saying. All right, I just want to hang up the phone right then and there. So smile, take a deep breath, and answer that phone in a nice, positive way. It's a great day at Early Care and Education. This is Tim, the school director. How can I help you today? All right? It makes a big difference. All right? But don't be rushed. Now, a lot of times, whenever they call, the very first thing they say is, how much do you charge for a 2-year-old? Okay? Don't immediately give them the price. All right. Oh, I see that you're calling today about your 2-year-old child. What's your child's name? Tell me a little bit about your child. What are you looking for in an early education program? Has your child been in group care before? All right. Gather some of this information, start selling your program, and then you throw the price. The price should be the very last thing you mention. Now, if they just come back and say, look, I just want to know the price, then obviously give them the price. All right. But start building that relationship with them. Okay? And of course, as you're on the phone with them, you're taking notes. Make sure you get their name, make sure you get their address, an email address, and you immediately send them a thank you note once you get off the phone with them. Okay, that's awesome right there. Always schedule that visit too. When would you like to come in and see our program? When is a good time for you? All right. Try to get that commitment that they will come in and tour your program. All right. Now, when I schedule tours, of course, you want to have an open door policy. Parents are allowed to come in and visit your program at any time, but you do want to try to schedule the tour. And the way I always say this is, when would be a good time for you to come in, so that I can give you my full attention? All right. We have a lot of responsibilities. We stay very busy, and I want to make sure I give you my full attention. So I need to schedule, coverage. When would be a good time for you? All right. They love hearing that, when I can give you my full attention. All right. That's a big thing right there. Now, I know we only have 10 minutes left in our webinar, so I'm going to go through this last part, hopefully, and get it all in. I'm a little ADD. I don't know if y'all know that about me. I get distracted very easily. I get off topic very easy. That's just how I am. I'm really bad about this whenever I'm giving a tour. So I have designed my programs, and I have designed my physical environment for very particular reasons. Not only because I want there to be purpose behind everything that we do, and everything that we put up on our walls has purpose and meaning, but I also strategically place things around the school to keep me on task. And I know that sounds crazy, but that's what I've got to do, and it works. All right. So I put things around the building, that are my visual reminders to talk about certain things in the school. And I'm going to show you just a few. And these are some older pictures, but they're still really good. So, whenever I'm giving a tour, and I always put my parent communication board very close to the front desk. Of course, per licensing, these need to be placed in a prominent area where adults can easily view them. But this is my visual reminder to start off the tour talking about, we are licensed by the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Here is our compliance history. Here's where you can find it. Here's our health report. We meet all of the regulations. And you can see, like the picture that I have up here, I like to keep this simple and clean. Not too cluttered, very simple, very clean. So again, that's my visual reminder to talk about all of the standards, the regulations, the regulatory items that we must explain to our parents. I also, like to have like a flat screen TV up in the office. This is one of the ways that we communicate with our parents. So I'll go ahead and describe that different events that we have going on around the school will always be sent home to you in writing. They will be emailed to you, but they also are displayed on this TV. And that's just the crazy world we live in right now. They love that. Now, once we get to the classroom, I always have my classroom parent board that is posted outside. And again, 4 items on it. And you can see it's very nice, it's very neat, it's very clean. 1 sheet of paper, so we don't stick lesson plans on top of lesson plans on top of lesson plans, and it becomes a book. I don't want a book, I want 1 lesson plan up there, 1 what we did today. But this is, again, is my visual reminder to talk to the parent about our curriculum and where they can see what's going on, to talk about our menu, to talk about our calendar of parent events. But the most important thing that I like to point out on the parent classroom board, you can see here, is the what we did today, okay? And I explain to parents that this is posted every day. It is for their benefit, so that they can quickly read some of the key items that we did in the classroom, and also open-ended questions for parents to ask their children. Rather than a parent just asking their child, what'd you do today? Because the kid's going to say nothing, I played. Give specific questions. Tell me about the book you read in circle time called The Crayon Box That Talked. Tell me how to say dog in Spanish, you know. Give the parents those open-ended questions to set them up for success, okay? Um, yes, you can get a copy of what we did today. I actually think it's posted on my website, but if not, just shoot me an email and I can send it to you. All right. But that's a big part right there because it's, again, opening up that open parent communication, and it's also showing the parent that we want them to be successful as well as the child in the classroom. I always kind of put a teacher profile that's by the classroom. Again, this reminds me to talk to the parent about the teacher that's in the classroom, to tell them a little bit about the teacher so that they know that they're human. Make sure that the pictures are nice and professional, not something you just took a little snapshot on a Wednesday after the teacher had been outside running and screaming, you know. Make it a nice professional picture, but that's my reminder to talk about who's in the classroom, which is then followed by a nice framed picture of the teacher's education, whether it's their CDA, whether it's an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree. Now, don't put the actual degree in there. Make a copy of it. We want them to keep the originals. I don't want to be responsible for the originals. But again, this is my visual reminder to talk to the family about the education of the teacher. All right? And that is huge right there. And especially when you walk through the building and you see all of this education on the wall, it's just mind-blowing. I've got one particular school that I'm working with right now that it is the goal of the school to have 100% of their teachers with a CDA, and they've got everybody but two right now. And to walk through that school and to see all of these framed CDAs, it's awesome. Okay, kind of go over the lesson plan with the parent. What we did today, we talked about that right there. The rotating menu, and we talked about having healthy lunches. If you have cameras in your classroom, you know, this is my visual reminder to talk to parents about security, about, you know, us having a visual eye on the classroom at all time. Whether or not the parent has access to this or not, that's up to you and your individual program. But again, that's my visual reminder. And of course, your check-in, check-out system, whatever that looks like in your school, you know, the parents love that security part. And then last but not least, the most important part about Marketing 101 is after you've done everything we've talked about today and you get them in the door, then you seal the deal. All right? You look that parent in the eye and you ask them, when would you like to start? Okay? Here's a pen for you to go ahead and pull out that checkbook and write that registration fee, that check for that registration fee. Let me provide you with a pen. All right? There's nothing wrong with asking, okay, for the registration. Seal the deal. You got this. All right? You know, a lot of times they'll say, well, I need to go talk to my husband. I need to go talk to my wife, whatever. You know, that's okay. Well, when would be a good time for them to come in? All right, but seal the deal. All right, awesome. Yes, if you want to shoot me an email, I will send you a copy of what we did today. This is also available, all of my forms and documents, forms, sample policies, documents, you can find in my Child Care Survival Guide, which is available for purchase on my website. You get full access to everything in that book. It comes to you on a CD-ROM. And so you can change anything, you can print it off, but I've got that available for you as well. Awesome. So we did take up our entire hour. That was a lot of information in a very short amount of time. Don't give up on marketing. Again, it is something that most of your marketing efforts take place at night and on the weekends, not during the day, because that's when your potential customers are out there. All right. Confidence is the key. All right. Treat your potential families as if they're a long lost friend. And last but not least, focus on relationships, not dollars. All right. Awesome. Awesome. Any other questions or comments before I let y'all go? All right, fantastic. I hope all of y'all enjoyed our webinar today. I hope to see you next Tuesday as we continue on with our Tuesdays with Tim webinar series. Remember, all of our past webinars can be found on our website under online trainings. I hope all of y'all have a great Tuesday, and I will see you soon.